Hello. Welcome to a fine Saturday night. Welcome to a fine Saturday night. Actually, it's a Saturday night for all of you on the East Coast, but it's still Saturday afternoon here on DylanLasagna Live here on the West Coast. My name is, of course, DylanLasagna, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna lie in that I'm saying that I need a haircut. I seriously need a freaking haircut. It's been how long since we've been in quarantine, and it's like, I don't know, I just don't have the need to cut my own hair. I'm like, not need, but it's just like I'm just too scared to cut my own hair because, you know, I actually fix my hair, and you know, like growing it out, it's like I think it's overstayed its welcome. So, you know, I'm just kind of ready, you know. I'm ready for like the next phase of things to reopen, you know, like the barbers and stuff, so I can get a haircut. But even that, I know, is gonna be a long ass line to like get a haircut again once it reopens, because, you know, once it reopens, like, it's gonna be a shitstorm. But yeah, my hair, it's at the point it's long. But of course, in all seriousness, there are other matters in the world that are much more important. You know, there's a lot of like stuff like rioting, looting, protests. I can't really comment too much on that, but all I can say is just like, again, like what I said, I think it was like a week or two ago, you know, just be like, we gotta stand in solidarity, be kind to one another. I know it's like times are tough, but hopefully all I can say is hopefully something good comes out of these protests. It's like, it's not, I know it's not going to come right away, but, you know, I'm optimistic. But anyway, guys, welcome to another episode of DylanLasagna Live. I am your host, obviously, DylanLasagna. I think I need to turn down my lights here. I brightened it a little bit, but because the light is reflecting on my glasses. But anyway, welcome to another edition of DylanLasagna Live, and it is Saturday night. Saturday afternoon. I keep saying Saturday night. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, I had to push it back 2 hours from its original 2:30 start time because just because I had something last minute I had to do, like I had to take care of, like that was important, and that's why I had to delay today's podcast. But the important thing is, I'm here. That's all that matters. I mean, we normally start at 4 o'clock anyway, so might as well push it here. But anyway, we are here. If you follow my channel, hopefully there's still some people that do on my dead channel. We had no podcast, like Friday podcast last week. We had a Double or Nothing episode last Sunday. Not this past Sunday, but I think it was the Sunday after Double or Nothing. So that was technically our episode for that week, but it wasn't so for me, but whatever. But I did live stream. I just did a just chatting live stream to talk with you guys. But now we're here to do another podcast episode. Thank goodness there's stuff to actually talk about this week. I mean, like stuff that I actually want to talk about, because again, I want to talk about stuff that I'm interested in. And yes, like there's things going on in the world, but it's just like I don't know. I just can't personally speak on it. I feel like I don't like. It's not that I don't care. It's just like I don't feel like I have enough to say on that subject matter. So I do apologize on that. But anyway, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. So we get recommended. I mean, you of course can hit the dislike button, but you know, it's your personal take. And if you're watching this on demand, leave a comment down below, and make sure you go check out the last episode of Dylan Lasagna Live, which was the Double or Nothing review, and my past podcast episodes of Dylan Lasagna Live. They're always on the channel, and they're always unfiltered, randomized, and with my random takes, and of course my other random stuff on the channel. I really want to get back into edited videos, but honestly, I've been lacking like a creative spark lately, other than the podcast, because live streaming has been just more fun than doing edited content. But I just don't know what to do in terms of edited content. But anyway, I think the last edited video I did was just like bashing the marketing for Edge versus Randy Orton. But yeah, that's that. So again, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this live stream. And with that being said, let's get right into today's podcast. And I will say this. As we're getting into topic one, I've said this time and time again. Sports do not work without fans. And here we are June now? And I was reading Bleacher Report because, you know, I'm a sports fan, and I honestly haven't checked anything like sports related since the start of the pandemic. Since the start of the coronavirus pandemic. And then I think it was Thursday when the NBA announced that it was going to restart the season, because like with the NHL, the MLB, Major League Soccer, and then FIFA, or I guess what the it was mainly the four major sports that were suspending their seasons like back in March when the pandemic hit. And now the NHL had a plan to restart the season. I don't know when exactly they're going to restart it. The MLB has been more silent when they're going to start. And now this past Thursday, the NBA announced when their plan of restarting the season, and it got approved of this plan to do a restart. So let's get into it right now. So, the NBA's Players Association, as reported by ESPN's very own Adrian Wojnarowski, the NBA Players Association approved of the NBA Board of Governors' plan for a revamped 22-team season to so they can finish the current 2019-2020 season. Woj revealed that the top 8 teams in the East and West, plus the 6 teams within 6 games of a playoff spot, will participate in the season's finish at ESPN's Wide World of Sports complex in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. So that's pretty much right next to Walt Disney World. So as for the other 8 teams, including the Golden State Warriors, their season is effectively finished. As for the case for the Warriors, I mean, this was a lost season anyway. This was pretty much like a gap year anyway. But anyway, the participating teams will conclude the regular season with 8 games apiece, and if necessary, a play-in tournament for the final playoff spot in each conference will happen. These playoffs will then last until October, with Game 7 of the NBA Finals taking place on October 12th, if necessary. Now, the restart is scheduled for Friday, July 31st, and there are some key dates to keep in mind here. July 7th is when teams can start having training camp, and then after Game 7, if there's a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, the off season, there's practically barely any off season after the conclusion of the finals, because there's free agency in October 18th, and then after 3 days prior is the NBA draft. So literally 3 days after the finals, it's everything's moving quickly. And then November, I would presume, is training camp. And then December, they're saying December 1st is the start for the next season. So literally, there is no rest for the remaining teams. I mean, granted, unless there's at least no rest for the teams in the finals. They only get the teams in the final that are going to be in the finals, which will probably be the Lakers and the Bucks, barring some miracle run by one of these other teams. Whoever's going to be in the finals is not going to get some major vacation, unlike with, let's say, the Warriors, the Knicks, the Hawks, the Bulls, and the other 4 teams that are now going to have this long layoff. It's going to be a 9-month layoff now. I mean, they pretty much got a vacation. So I mean, for those 8 teams, I mean, essentially, I'd say the Warriors are the one the most benefit out of their season ending right now, because Clay's gonna be back next season. I mean, Curry and Draymond were already injured, and not healthy, and whoever they get with the lottery pick. So out of the 8 teams that season's already done, the Warriors are the one the most benefit. And then, of course, the big downside for all this is no fans. Like I've said time and time again, it's there's no way that sports can work without fans, because without fans, there's no energy in these games. It's like one of my friends always say when we talk about sports, especially during these times. It's like watching practice. It's like watching a practice session with a team. You know, I would describe it as a practice drill. There you go. A practice drill between the first team and the second team in football. So that's essentially what we're gonna see in this restart. You know, obviously, when it comes to who's gonna be champions going forward, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's it could be anyone, because even though the Milwaukee Bucks were running rampant in the regular season, it's the pandemic pretty much gave every team a 2-month layoff, and with the participating teams that are going to be in this, well, it's they're pretty much all going to be at least rusty. They're going to be at least rusty when they get back on the court, playing an actual game of basketball. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting where they how this new season, like this second part of the season, begins to take place. Now it's starting at a point when the football season is going to start. Now I'm just thinking they're going to compete for, like, it's going to be a ratings war. It's like I'm dead serious. It's literally going to be a ratings war between, like, basketball, football, and now wrestling for ratings. And who knows if football will even have any fans, like it, and if there's even going to be a football season in the fall. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting. All I can say is, though, it's this thing doesn't work without fans. But at the same time, outright canceling it would have been bad for the players as well, because, like, having such a long layoff till October, like, what is that? 7 months? Or 7 months of not doing basketball. I mean, now granted, already it's like the NFL players are already playing, like, what? Like, an off season's typically like 7 months as well. I mean, they're already rusty too. So, but I don't know. Basketball is a more vibrant sport, a more active sport. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But at least basketball's back. But at the same time, no fans, and just, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna make up for that lost energy, like that lost synergy, that enthusiasm that makes up a good portion of a sporting event, you know. And having no fans for 2 months, like, the NBA is gonna, like, sporting fans are gonna quickly learn it's gonna get really tiring really fast. Just look at the WWE. Look at AEW. It's like having no fans in attendance. Like, yes, they're using their wrestlers. It's gonna get old fast. It is. It really is. But yeah, the NBA is gonna be back. Like, as long as there are no other, like, serious cases of the coronavirus, or there's no other, like, other serious events in the world, like the protests and all that will prevent the season from returning. But I don't know. The world keeps changing every day, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But regardless, the NBA is back, and their target date is July 31st to come back. Now, let's move on to our next topic, shall we? Now, as you know, I think it was on the Memorial Day episode of Monday Night Raw, WWE started using its Performance Center trainees, and a few select NXT wrestlers, like Shotzi Blackheart, and I think Dakota Kai was on one episode of Raw as a fan, used as a fan. WWE has been using Performance Center trainees and NXT wrestlers as fans for about 2 weeks now. And I gotta say that them doing this fan thing it looks pretty depressing. It was a good concept at first, But they took it an ass step backwards. They took it completely ass backwards. But that's not why I'm talking about the Performance Center trainees as fans. I'm talking about how they're being treated. It's one thing that they have to use this concept. It's another thing that they're completely enforcing their will on the Performance Center employees. And let me just explain it. So this is courtesy of No DQ. So they report that during these tapings, the Performance Center trainees had to endure 9 to 10 hour long sessions while standing around. So that's what they've previously reported. And then a new report from Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc. states that an unknown WWE employee went to the public announce system at the Performance Center and instructed the trainees to be more enthusiastic. Fightful also reported that the Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream match, which is a backlot brawl at NXT In Your House tomorrow night, was taped outdoors. I think they taped that sometime earlier this week, or no, it was last week. But was delayed multiple times in the during the filming process because of rain. And then Fightful reported the following: the recruits were asked to show up at 7, but the downpour in the area kept delaying things. As it turns out, most were waiting around until midnight before they actually filmed the In Your House match. And then Jury from Wrestling Inc. also mentioned that the trainees were kept separate from the talent on these shows and were asked to bring their own lunches. And then I think it was Sean Ross Sapp. I saw something on Instagram that Nikki Cross did a really great thing by bringing pizza to the Performance Center trainees. So that's a really good gesture for Nikki Cross. And then Fightful also mentioned that the trainees only got to sit during the match breaks. Now, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but if the trainees are being like, if the trainees are gonna complain that they have to stand for 9 to 10 hours for what is essentially like a crappy show at this point, two crappy wrestling shows. NXT is decent. They don't get a right to complain, and I'm sorry, they haven't worked. They're not an essential worker anyway. They're not a retail worker. They're not they're not part of law enforcement. They're not especially not a frontline healthcare practitioner that stand and walk and do so much more than what these Performance Center trainees are doing. And the trainees that are being used as fans want to complain that they're frustrated with they're tired from standing. Now, in fairness, I don't know why WWE not making them sit. It's stupid. They should get them some chairs. I don't know why they're not. Because, like, they're not even following social distancing anyway. It's like they're not following social distancing on commentary. They're not following social distancing in the ring. It's like, what's the point? Like, what is the point of making your Performance Center trainees that you're using as fans follow social distancing? You're setting a double standard here. You're setting a double standard. And, like, on top of that, it's just like, do you see, like, AEW forcing, like, its wrestlers to be enthusiastic, to cheer and boo, like, at, like, different point, like at like a specific point of the match or a specific point in the promo. No, they're split between like one side of the ring, and they cheer and boo for whoever they want and like whenever they please. That's the freedom of AEW. WWE, it's like, again, they took it a complete 10-step ass backwards with this concept. It's like they are not making it fun for anybody involved. And I don't know. The hockey glass looks just ridiculous now. It's like at some point in time, someone's gonna put like these wrestlers are gonna put each other through it. These wrestlers are gonna put each other through the plexiglass, and then WWE will just use it as a reason to get rid of it, like in the future. I don't know. It's like these trainees like shouldn't be complaining because like there are other like people with like on the lines professions, like that's how I describe it, like the real professions out there that are doing more than what they're doing than being fans. But at the same time, WWE's treating them like freaking dogs by making them stand around for needless reasons, when they're just, and forcing them to cheer when they're clearly tired as hell. So I don't know. I'd say both parties involved look stupid. They both look dumb, and I don't know. I feel like they're mistreating each other. That's all I can say. Let's talk about Fyter Fest. I'm low key excited for it. John Moxley versus Brian Cage should be an exciting event. I do have to catch up on this week's Dynamite and last week's as well. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. Wrestling without fans is just like, I don't know. I've completely lost interest in wrestling ever since there's been no fans. But anyway, I would like to know more about Brian Cage. I would like to know more about him. Going into Fyter Fest. But speaking of Fyter Fest, we learned a little bit more about when it's gonna be, and when, like, how exactly it's gonna be, like how exactly it's gonna be laid out, and we got that answer on Wednesday's Dynamite. So AEW announced on Wednesday that Fyter Fest is gonna be the next event, but it's not gonna be a pay-per-view. It's gonna be on television. So it's essentially gonna be replacing Dynamite, but it's not gonna be on one night. No, it's 2 nights. So it's too big for one night. So now we're stealing taglines from the WWE. I'm joking. So anyway, so Fyter Fest is free again, but now it's more free because it's on TV. And AEW announced that Fyter Fest is gonna be 2 nights, not like 2 consecutive nights, but it's gonna be spread out through 2 weeks, like both on Wednesdays. Part 1's gonna be on July 1st, and part 2 is gonna be on the following week. They didn't reveal where it's gonna be, but I would most likely presume it's gonna be at Daly's Palace because, like, I don't think any arena is gonna reopen by that point. So yeah, that's Fyter Fest for this year, and again, I'm pretty excited for it. We obviously got John Moxley versus Brian Cage for the world title. They revealed that it's gonna be on night 2, so we're gonna have to wait at least a month for that. But they got plenty of time to build that up. So we can learn more about Brian Cage going into Fyter Fest. But now the question is, how are they gonna spread this out? how is AEW going to spread out the match card for Fyter Fest? Now, the thing with television, you got commercials, and like, are you gonna implement the like picture for picture thing with your matches, or are you just gonna cut straight to commercial for some of these matches? It's like they got to figure out what is gonna make the Fyter Fest card throughout their 2 weeks that they're doing it. Are they gonna do like 4 matches per night? Could they possibly add a 5th match? I don't know. We'll see what direction they take. But regardless, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Fyter Fest. I think it should be an interesting event. Last year's was pretty cool. I remember that match with John Moxley and Joey Janela. So that was pretty cool. All right, now let's talk about Bobby Lashley. As you know, Bobby Lashley has been getting a push. He's been getting this push. He's facing Drew McIntyre for the title at Backlash. He has MVP as his mouthpiece. The days of the Beatdown Clan from TNA. But I just want to give like some of the latest from some details about his push. So Dave Meltzer, Figure 4 Weekly, reported that MVP worked as a producer prior to the furloughs back in April due to the budget cuts. Meltzer mentioned that the Raw executive director Paul Heyman wanted to use MVP as Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece for a potential title run, and that led to MVP transitioning roles. Paul Davis later wrote the following about Lashley versus WWE Champion McIntyre at Backlash. And this is where things get interesting here. I was told that Lashley versus the Lashley versus McIntyre feud will continue beyond Backlash and into the July pay-per-view Extreme Rules, and possibly into a stipulation match at SummerSlam. So there's plenty of time to put the title on Lashley, and that's the direction. Lashley has been reportedly pushing for a match with Lesnar since he returned to the company, and with Lesnar expected back for SummerSlam, there is a new wave of speculation that Lashley versus Lesnar could be happening at the event. Now, first of all, WWE hasn't really done like anything to make Lashley look like a legit challenger to McIntyre, like during and before before his recent push. Because what exactly has he done like recently that made him a legit WWE title contender? I mean, let's look at it. He coughed up a victory to Aleister Black at WrestleMania. And prior to that, he was in a shit-stained storyline with Lana, Rusev, and Liv Morgan. So that tells you like about the person that's going to not the person, the character that's going to face Drew McIntyre at Backlash next Sunday. Yeah, not exactly the best way to build up Bobby Lashley as a WWE title contender. I also don't like the idea of WWE taking off the title off of McIntyre. Now, could he have more challengers? Absolutely. There's still Kevin Owens that WWE could like have Drew McIntyre face. McIntyre doesn't necessarily have to be a babyface, even though he's been a red hot babyface. But I would love to see McIntyre versus Kevin Owens. It's like, why take off the WWE title from someone? Why take off the WWE title from someone that's been red hot to give it to someone that's essentially just going to give the title to Brock Lesnar? It's like Lashley versus Lesnar does not need the WWE title. It just simply doesn't. It does not. It's like, why not have Lesnar do something that's unrelated to a world title for the first time in years? You know, like, come on, ease up on Lesnar, man. It's like, don't you think he's tired of holding that world title for like 5 of the last 6 years now? Come on now. I think it's like, I'm sure like Vince McMahon isn't, but I'm pretty sure Lesnar is. But, you know, it's like, you don't want to discourage McIntyre by taking away a world title he worked so many years for. Now, you can win back the title, but it's just like, you got to find the right person for it. You got to find the right person to take that title off him, and Bobby Lashley ain't it. He ain't it. He's not it. So, they can go with Lashley versus Lesnar at SummerSlam. It just doesn't need the title. And you just got to find another challenger for McIntyre. So, I would be scared. I would be concerned. For even though it can not, like with a sprinkle of like a little something at Backlash, just watch out. WWE might pull the trigger and take the title off of Drew McIntyre. It may not be Backlash, but it might be at Extreme Rules. Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. I'm just giving you a friendly warning that WWE might take the title off of Drew McIntyre for someone that is just going to be fed to Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar will take the title back. All right, let's talk about our last topic for today. Gronk. Y'all remember Gronk's in WWE? Our good old Rob Gronkowski? Yeah. Gronk lasted longer. I don't know. Did he last longer than Cain Velasquez? No, I think he lasted less than Cain Velasquez. Rob Gronkowski didn't even have a match. I mean, he had that stunt at WrestleMania 36 in that 24/7 title match. I mean, I think he was the longest reigning 24/7 champion in history, but who gives a shit about the 24/7 title? But anyway, as some of you know, it was reported Tuesday by Wrestling Inc. that Gronk is no longer under contract with the WWE as he exercised a release clause in his contract because, as you know, with the NFL season coming up, Rob Gronkowski unretired to go play with Tom Brady again in Tampa Bay. So, Fightful also reported that prior to his release, Gronk had backstage heat stemming from his 24/7 title stunt at WrestleMania 36. Previous reports stated that Gronk was scared of falling off the scaffolding in the Performance Center onto a group of wrestlers, and Vince McMahon himself had to demonstrate the spot to prove that it was safe. Yeah, even at 73, I will give Vince McMahon this. He is willing to go above and beyond to show his wrestlers that if I can do it, you can do it. One person allegedly referred to Gronk as a clown who we are so much better without. And then in Gronk's last appearance, what could be his last appearance in WWE, he lost the 24/7 title back to R-Truth this past Monday on Raw. Now, I was low-key kind of disappointed because I at least wanted to see Tom Brady versus R-Truth. Can we just give them that? Can we at least did a follow-up to Tom Brady versus, like, Tom Brady and R-Truth? Can we at least get a segment out of that? Like Gronk, or no, not Gronk. Tom Brady pinning R-Truth and winning the 24/7 title, and then R-Truth can finally go on the hunt for Tom Brady, like Tom Brady, like in a post-game interview, because you can't do that in an actual football game. Tom Brady's in a post-game interview, and then R-Truth comes out of nowhere and pins the guy. R-Truth would have gotten so much flack for it because nobody would have known it was an angle. But it would have been so funny because it would have actually been good for WWE too. It would have made so many headlines. It would have been on ESPN. It would have been on the Today Show. It would have been on Good Morning America. That Tom Brady lost the 24/7 title to R-Truth, and people didn't know it was an angle. Couldn't you imagine that? Could you imagine? We could have gotten something good with Gronk, R-Truth, and Tom Brady. Think about it. I mean, it sounds stupid, but it would have at least done something good, for WWE. There's something to think about. Now, as for Gronk in WWE, I mean, we didn't know how he was going to succeed. We don't know how well he was going to do in the ring. He didn't even have a match. And the one thing he did do, he was scared to do it. So that just goes to show that for all the injuries that he had in his football career, it's he wasn't scared of that. It's he wasn't scared of his injuries, but he was scared of what was a 10, 15 foot jump onto wrestlers. I don't know about Gronk, man. He's an interesting figure. He is an interesting guy. But I don't know. I think the most important thing from this is look at celebrities like Stephen Amell and Ronda Rousey. It's those are examples of celebrities turned decent or good wrestlers. And I mean, in the case of Rousey, she was an MMA fighter, but she was a mid-level celebrity. But as I'm saying, he had the charisma. Rob Gronkowski had the charisma. He had the excitement. But it was just you have to truly judge someone's wrestling ability. If someone's a celebrity's transition to wrestling, when you see them wrestle. Again, with Rousey, we got a good example of that with their 1-year run in WWE. Stephen Amell, I think it was at SummerSlam 2015. He didn't do that bad. So it's all about what they do in the ring, not how they do on the mic or in one brief stunt at WrestleMania 36 with Gronk. It's how they actually do in a match. So we'll never know with Gronk, but even if we did, it maybe would have ended up like Cain Velasquez. But I don't know. Gronk's WWE career will forever remain a mystery. And it's just a shame we will never get that 24/7 title segment with Gronk, R-Truth, and Tom Brady. But that's all I got for you guys today on Dylan Lasagna Live. What are you guys' thoughts on all these topics? All these topics that I talked about today. The frustration of the Performance Center trainees, being asked to be more enthusiastic, being asked to stand, along with the return of the NBA, and then Fyter Fest being 2 nights, Bobby Lashley's push, and of course Gronk being done with WWE. Let me know in the comments below. Hopefully we can have we can get back to the normal Friday episodes. Now I know that there has been much news, much interesting topics to talk about unrelated to the circumstances of the world. Again, I'd rather do an episode that strays. I'd rather do these podcasts that stray away from the world's events. because it's like this is a safe space. This is a safe space from everything that's happening in the world, and I want to keep it that way. But anyway, everyone, that's it. That's all I got for you on this episode of Dylan Lasagna Live. Again, let me know about your thoughts on these topics. Like what are your takes on these topics in the comments below if you're watching this on demand. But make sure you like this stream, like this episode of Dylan Lasagna Live, and make sure if you're not already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got the bell on so you'll know every time I post a new video or I'm live on the channel. I also hope to try to do like more general live streams. I always say that, but it's like I really hope I do. But anyway, everyone, that's all I got for you this week. Always be delicious, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.